Hey y'all, it's Trent on the Loos, and don't look now. We just rolled into April, and it would have been nice to have some calculated April Fool's issue to bring to the forefront today, but we don't pay attention to those, old superstitious things. There's no superstition involved in what we're going to talk about today. I become more of a libertarian every single day. And it's because this document that I pack in my pocket all of the time, it clearly lays the groundwork for the government to protect its citizens. It does not say that the government should be subsidizing certain businesses. It does not say the government should be intervening in all of these regulatory systems. Nowhere does it say that. It says it should protect the citizens. Now, those citizens might be enemies, foreign or domestic. So if we have a massive water pollution issue, you can see where government should step in, moderate, and be a part of making sure that somebody over here doesn't affect somebody here when it comes to water. But we should not have government stepping in saying, no, you're not smart enough to know who to buy your food from. You need my permission to buy food from your neighbor. Who in their right mind needs a government to tell us who we can buy our food from? And yet it's happening. It's happening in a bigger way than ever before. I just continue to quote this. I'm not opposed to all regulation, but the business of regulation is quite simple: to keep business regular. There's nothing about keeping business regular when the hurdles that are thrown in front of people put them out of business. And if you don't think that's the case, go look at nothing other than how government mandates through labor requirements has removed so many small businesses. So many times we rise up and we say, you need to enact a new law, a new regulation to put an equal playing field in place for keeping these big businesses in check, when in fact, in every regulation, every single regulation will put small businesses out. And when it comes to small farms, and we continue to have an exodus like we have in the last 5 years of 144,000 small farms, you create a dangerous situation for domestic food security. That's exactly what has been transpiring in the state of Oregon. And today, Christina Anderson, I didn't know I said that wrong, Christine Anderson from McMinnville, Oregon, cast iron farm, is milking cows and has a herd share program working with her neighbors. Yet, the Oregon Department of Agriculture has stepped in to say, we got to have a permit from you, Ms. Anderson. I don't think so. She's here to explain exactly what she's been doing for the past 15 years in feeding her local community. Christine Anderson, just ahead today. Trent on the Loose, no fooling. Trent Loos here for my friend Greg Hager. Do you know why he has been named the Entertainer of the Year? It's because he writes his own stuff. It's because what he writes and performs and entertains will touch you in a way like very few songs. His Christian roots come to life. Visit greghager.com for tour dates, merchandise, and book the show yourself. Use the code GREG24 for a discount. greghager.com.
Are you looking for something special or one of a kind? At Bassett Motors, we can help you find exactly what you want.
Come on in and experience how small town hospitality and personal service can make car buying a pleasure.
We know interest rates are important to you. We have multiple lenders to negotiate your lowest payment.
Visit us on Highway 281 in Carrington, North Dakota, and online at BassettMotors.com. Bassett Motors, where our customers send their friends.
At OLS Tubs, we focus on quality ingredients to create premium, low-consumption supplements that save producers time and money. Our customers see increased profits through better conception rates, heavier winning weights, and less time and money spent on doctoring herds. OLS formulas focus on highly bioavailable trace minerals and vitamins, as well as key ingredients to improve immune response, colostrum quality, and feed conversion. Our exclusive formula propels your livestock to their full genetic potential. This is why we confidently say OLS Tubs are simply the best.
In the heart of North Dakota lies a beautiful community to live, work, and play. Beulah is surrounded by nature and just minutes from Lake Sikakawea and all that it offers. The possibilities for fun and relaxation here are boundless. It's the perfect place to find a fulfilling career, epic adventures, and a welcoming community. Life here is legendary. Plan your visit today and see what you're missing.
Folks, when it comes to crop protection, you need equipment and technology you can count on. The Apache sprayer accomplishes all of that, but you need something else. A service counter and a group of people that'll help you when you need it. Simpson Farm Enterprises at simpsonfarm.com and High Plains Apache from Mandan. They have the service, they have the equipment. All they need is your confidence. Online, simpsonfarm.com or highplainsapache.com. Welcome back, y'all. It's Trent on the Loose. As I promised, Christine Henderson joining us from McMinnville, Oregon. Did I do okay with McMinnville?
McMinnville, it is. You got it. Just good.
Oh, good. Cast Iron Farm. I got to first ask, Christine, how did you come up with this name?
That's a good question. I've got I grew up on a cattle ranch with my grandmother, and she had cast iron pans that she always cooked steaks and everything in. And my sister and I had a conversation about who got the pans when grandma passed on. And so it was kind of a little bit of a family joke that if I had my farm named after cast iron, maybe I had a little bit of an edge in that. But nothing better than a good cast iron pan,
Well, you're making me want to. Well, I have to go dig my fire pit out because we had 8 foot of snow, and so March in Nebraska came in like a lamb, so it went out like a lion. But I would like to go get my Dutch oven out and just do a little cooking now that you've inspired me to do that.
Yeah, you should. We all should.
Yes, we should. So you've been garnering some national attention because the Oregon Department of Agriculture is very confused on what a CAFO is. And you want to take us to the beginning. First of all, tell us what you have at Cast Iron Farm, and then we'll talk about what confusion the Oregon Department of Agriculture is under.
Sure. So yeah, Cast Iron Farm, we've been operating here on our place. I grew up on a cattle ranch in Eastern Oregon and was more interested in the dairy side. So I started our own little operation. We've got a herd share, so we milk cows, and then it's kind of direct to consumer access of that farm product, and kind of trying to create a little local food economy where people have access to, where their food is coming from has always been kind of a really big component of what we do. So the cow milk is the prime spotlight on that.
So let's speak a minute about the farm share or cow share. So Oregon, it's okay that you don't sell. You have people who own parts of your cows, and then they have access to the milk in the form of raw milk. Is that correct?
Yeah. So every state has different regulations about how it works. In Oregon, we can't do retail sales of raw cow milk, though you can do off the farm sales, but just logistically and operationally, it's much better for us to be a herd share. So the herd share is the way to access the products of the farm without it's not a sale. I'm taking care of the animals that we kind of own communally.
Got it. You are a little unique. You're way unique. You know that, right?
It is a little bit of a niche. Yes. No,
I'm talking about usually dairy kids grow up desiring not to milk anymore and get in the beef business. You grew up on a great beef ranch in Harney County, Oregon, and now you're milking cows. That seems backwards.
I know, I just, I don't know. My sister still runs our home ranch. So I must say that I get plenty of support out of the Harney County realm. And yeah, I'm just a little bit crazy in that dairy has called to me, and it's that world has treated me very well.
Prior to this, we're going to talk about it in the CAFO permitting. What were your great challenges in making this work?
So I'm a small operation. I always had the intention of just kind of supporting my neighbors. I had the idea of, you should be able to knock on your neighbor's door if they've got a dairy cow, and, kind of get in on that and see where your food is coming from. And so we just service McMinnville really is the goal, that our customers are all basically neighbors. And so it's we're small, and labor, it's hard to find someone to milk cows when you're not around. I do most of the operations on the farm solo, so I'm the main milkmaid, and I just have a passion for that. But every once in a while I do need to get off the farm and do something else. So and we also challenged the state back in 2012 because the state was saying that you could not legally advertise raw milk for sale. And I worked with the same organization that's helping with our current initiative, and we overturned that. Because of course, if raw milk was a legal product, which is how we were operating at the time, we should be able to talk about that legal product. So we were ultimately successful with that.
I'm going to first say, Christine, that I'm shocked that you can deliver raw milk to anybody in any way, shape, or form in the state of Oregon. Secondly, I do not understand for any reason whatsoever why two people who have something to sell and somebody else that wants to buy it, why Big Brother, in this case being the state or the state of Oregon, should say, no, you can't sell that neighbor that product. In no way, shape, or form does this Constitution in my book say that any state should have the ability to interfere with business.
Yeah, I mean, my belief is for sure that that a person should be able to make an honest living doing an honest thing, and that's really the crux of what our farm, represents to me and what it represents to our community. So, yeah.
And as we have a greater desire for people, no, I'm not going to do that. Do you have more interest in buying products direct than you did 10 years ago?
I certainly, I struggle myself now. We almost never go to the grocery store. We strive to be self-sufficient. So we raise what we eat and, trade for vegetables and try to just generate what we can in the other farmers, because being a farmer can be a lonely business, and it's good to have community even within that. And I do struggle to go, during COVID, we had no issues. We had freezers full of things that we had produced, and we shared those with the people that we took care of. And it's hard for me to go to the grocery store. It's actually a struggle for me to walk through the grocery store at this point, because I feel deeply connected to my food and where it came from, and that nourishes me and it nourishes my family. And I'm glad to be a part of that story for other people.
And obviously, if you're fighting this in 2012, you're not a newcomer to this endeavor. You've been at it a while.
Yeah, I definitely have felt the need to assert the rights of a small producer in our state to operate and to just make an honest living without undue intervention.
But my question was, how long have you been in doing this?
On our farm here, 15 years.
15 years. And in that 15 years, the demand for the products that you produce, is it growing?
Yes.
How fast?
We used to service it's been more exponential since COVID occurred, as people became abundantly clear of the issues with supply chain, and watching dairy farmers dump milk on television and not being able to find meat on their shelves. So we do limited shares also sometimes of, butchering out a cow or a steer or something like that. And those, we sold out for years in advance. We were selling out animals that hadn't even been born yet on reservation lists. And currently now I'm operating a waiting list on our herd share. I probably get 2 inquiries a day right
Wow.
now for people that go. And it's very limited. I mean, we're very clear that we just are trying to service. McMinnville has maybe 35,000 residents. So we're really just, I really just feel like there should be more of us, and those are who I'm trying to service. And those people are calling me from our local area mainly.
So that request that I left on your voicemail last week about delivering milk to Nebraska, should I not be waiting by the mailbox for you to show up?
Unfortunately, no, but we got to find you someone. There's got to be someone there that's going to just produce the
No,
best.
I gotta break down, take the time to go get a cow. But the problem I have, Christine, is that my wife's thinking that, I mean, we have 100 beef cows, so that's what we have. And then we raise pigs too. So we could barter. If you bring me some milk, I could get you the best bacon ever. And I have a Harney County resident who left, came to Nebraska, Wayne and Midge Smith, who will verify it's the best pork you've ever had. But with all of that said, Kelly is kind of leaning towards a goat, and I want a Jersey cow. So you want to weigh in on who's right and what we should do there?
I will be the most non-confrontational and say that if you've never milked a sheep or drank sheep milk, forget the goat, get a sheep, and then you don't have the hassle of the feed bill on a big old dairy cow.
You have no idea what you just did, because see, I really want to have sheep for the wool, and she wants goat to milk, and I want a Jersey cow. So you just stepped right in the middle of all of it, thinking you were going to be non-confrontational, and you really opened up a whole new can of worms. Thank you.
And then
Christine.
you can skin a sheep, and then you've got a sheep skin that you can put in front of your fire on a cold Nebraska winter night.
Well, see, when I get sheep, they're going to be not these blackface things. They're going to be good wool sheep that taste great and yet keep you warm on a cold Nebraska night.
Well, you give me a call, because we also do that. So we've got some beautiful dairy ewes in our pipeline.
We're going to take a break. Trent on Loos. We'll be back with more Christine Henderson from McMinnville, Oregon after this.
People get sick for 2 reasons and 2 reasons only. Your body's missing something that it needs, or it's exposed to something that it doesn't need. So if you supplement what the body's missing, the body fixes itself. If you remove from the body toxins that are interfering with the body's doing what it's normally designed to do, then the body heals itself. It's really that simple.
NO2U, that's nitric oxide, NO, number 2, letter U.com, and you put Trent as coupon code, you don't pay any shipping.
Stop out to our facility, Highway 22 South. Let us build a truck for you.
Base Fluke Trailers of Dickinson is a family-owned dealer with expert staff that know their products front to back. We stock over 150 units of all types and can custom order a trailer with the unique features and capabilities you require for brands you can trust. Our experienced service team is the reason we're also the best place to have your trailer customized or repaired. Count on Base Fluke Trailers of Dickinson to keep you hauling.
Hello and welcome to the MHA Interpretive Center. It's the perfect stop along the Lewis and Clark Trail and the cultural hub of the Mandan, Hidatsa, and Arikara Nation. Nestled along the shores of Lake Sagagawea in Newtown, North Dakota, 1 mile west of the Four Bears Casino. You can enjoy amphitheater performances, art exhibitions, and educational workshops utilizing our Living Cultural Center. Enjoy some coffee, browse our gift shop, and learn about the original people of this land. Learn more at mhanation.com/interpretive center.
Welcome back, Trent, on the loose. I just called my friend who's got some great South African merinos. Are you familiar with Sam's?
No.
Yeah, that's the kind of sheep I want. Because you got
Okay.
great. Actually, this comes with experience, Christine. I judged the Australian lamb eating competition 2 times on 2 different trips to Australia. I spoke for the Lamb X event, and I was the judge for the lamb eating contest, and the South African merinos won every single time, and they still have the fine wool, great wool quality of the merino, but they taste great.
That's amazing. We are breeding our East Frisians to merinos, and this is our first lamb crop this year, and I'm excited. Excited.
Sweet. All right, let's talk about Oregon Department of Agriculture. Last fall, they came out with, and I read that entire lengthy piece from their the bureaucracy, and they're defining a CAFO in a way, by the way, for those that may not know, concentrated animal feeding operation, even though your Oregon Department of Agriculture calls it a confined animal feeding operation. They don't even know how to terminology their own stuff, but that's beside the point. When did you learn about what they were talking about doing, and what did you think?
So I was doing a little bit of legislative work last February, and I got forwarded on the white paper that the department published, essentially announcing the program that they were doing this educational time period before they started enforcement of this new. It's not a new regulation in there. From what they were saying, it had always been this way, and we need to catch up with getting everybody up to date in their enforcement. So it's been about a year and some change now that we've been kind of dealing with that, trying to get our heads around what that means and what that looks like, and understand exactly like what the words mean, what they're saying, and why it makes sense that someone with a 2-cow operation would fit under the definition of a CAFO.
So for those that may not know, in the lifetime of CAFOs, concentrated animal feeding operations, the standard definition is anyone with 1,000 animal units is considered a CAFO and may be required to have a permit. The state can have more stringent rules. That is the federal rule, and that's what's been in place. The state of Oregon basically said, we don't care how many animals you have. If you have these animals on a solid surface, and that solid surface could be concrete, gravel, petrified wood, blacktop, tin, whatever, you are going to be considered a CAFO and need a permit. Is that accurate?
Yeah, so I went to a public meeting last year, and kind of tried to clarify what that means. We are a very pasture-based system. Our cows are outside most of the time, except for the very brutal. We have wet weather, so except for when it's going to be really muddy. And I asked if my cows are out of the pasture 23 hours, 55 minutes of the day, and I bring them in to milk them, and they're 5 minutes in the milking parlor, which we have a concrete floor. Does that meet your definition of confined? And they said yes. The animal would be considered confined. So we, even though our cows are, mainly on green grass, we confine our animals 365 days of the year.
Yeah. And so what'd you do next?
I attended a lot of the public meetings. I tried to kind of meet and understand what they were doing. Being I'm a little bit of a leader in the people there's a few of us in the state, so I kind of conversed with those individuals and just asked a lot of questions. And ultimately the state had been pretty firm saying, yes, specifically, this applies to you. If you wash a milk bucket and you milk your cows on concrete, there's no two ways about it. Even if you don't sell the milk, even if you have one animal and it's just for your own consumption, this is something that triggers the CAFO requirement.
I looked at this Department of Ag's website again, and they said they're pushing back, or they're talking about rolling back at this time, leaving it, and did not kill it, just saying they're rolling it back at this time. And they specifically said dairy. So that's very confusing to me, that any other animal may be subject to still fall under this CAFO permitting rule.
It's yes. One thing that and this is my personal opinion, but one thing that's been clear about this process is that we don't have a clear understanding of what we're asking as a state, or it doesn't appear that the Oregon Department of Agriculture has a clear understanding of what they are saying and what they're asking. But on this matter, which I can speak to specifically, their rollback was it directly in relation to our challenge. So the rollback was on small dairies. So their program that they initiated was a new regulation on small dairies. And so they're saying essentially that they're rolling that back for now. They did stop short of saying, this is not a topic that, this doesn't make sense and we're not pursuing this. So we certainly will be continuing with our lawsuit in federal court.
Yeah, but it continues to come back, and you just have a faction within the state of Oregon, such a great state from a resource standpoint. And yet at every turn, the food producer has a hurdle thrown in front of you. It's just very frustrating.
Yes, I love where I live, and we just do what we can. I feel like it's my duty as a citizen to kind of just secure the rights that I can in my little niche. And, this happens to be one that I can do something about. The CAFO onerous CAFO requirements on a small producer, that it just doesn't make sense for someone that's that small to put in such large systems to manage such a small amount of waste. And all the small producers that I've worked with have been doing a really good job in managing what they have. So I just would love to operate without undue government intervention to feed my community and my friends and my family.
I'm pretty sure at no point in time growing up on a ranch in Harney County, Oregon, did you ever see yourself spending as much time as you are in Salem fighting for the right to feed your family, your own family, and your neighbors.
Yes. And I have a little daughter. She's 17 and she's a Spitfire, and she keeps seeing these actions roll out. And she's just like, I want to be just like you, Mom. I want to go to law school. I want to do these things. I said, I'm just so proud of having a kid that is aware and that feels like, she wants to do something about her environment, because, we make choices every day when we wake up, and these are the ones that I've settled in.
Well, at the end of the day, actually, the true story here is that we're fighting for the ability to feed the nation and feed our communities. But at the end of the day, Christine Anderson is raising a daughter that sees that you can't just take things lying down. You have to stand up for what is right. And raising kids in the right way from the family unit is the top priority that we should all have. Christine, please keep me abreast of what takes place. And the next time I get in that eastern half of Oregon, it might be a while, I'm going to stop by and see you. Maybe I can get a glass of milk at your place.
Yeah, absolutely. Come on by.
Okay. Do you want people to go to your website? Do you want to give us your website before I sign off?
Sure. Website is castironfarm.com, and we're on Instagram also at castironfarm. Go ahead and follow along and see where we go.
That's Christine Anderson. I'm Trent Loos. Trent on the loose. God bless the veterans and the farmers who feed us.
Are you looking for something special or one of a kind? At Bassett Motors, we can help you find exactly what you want.
Come on in and experience how small town hospitality and personal service can make car buying a pleasure.
We know interest rates are important to you. We have multiple lenders to negotiate your lowest payment.
Visit us on Highway 281 in Carrington, North Dakota, and online at BassettMotors.com. Bassett Motors, where our customers send their friends.
Look, so see these cows here, Trent?
Hello, everyone. I'm Trent Loos. Welcome to another Live Across the Pond with my pontification partner, Andrew Henderson. Good afternoon, UK.
Good morning, USA, and it's nice to be back when we're in the afternoon and you're in the morning, so I can tell you today's news yesterday. How about that? That's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
No.
No, well, kind of. That's great news.
Well, I can tell you what you're about to find out. That's what I meant. I'm a time traveler.
Yeah, you do that.
I'm half a day ahead
You
of you.
definitely do that. I'm still
Half a
intrigued that
day.
it seems as though different parts of the world get different pieces of what is considered to be news.
Yes. Well, it's probably always been like that, though, Trent. It's just
Oh,
that
I'm sure.
media now gives us that. So, anyway, have the Italian men taken a leaf out of the Trent Loos book of being somebody that goes out there and actually tells the people what they want? Do you think they've taken a leaf out of your book? Do you know what the Italian men did this weekend?
What do you remember when you told me back yesterday that you tell me what's going to happen tomorrow?
Well,
so tell me, I don't know what the
your-
Italian men did.
Well, thousands of them marched through the streets to voice their opinion that they're not white ring fascist supremacists, and that the real people that were like that were the ones that belong to the globalist regime of net zero and everything else. So there's this huge march, I believe it was in Milan, of white men taking to the streets and saying enough is enough. The fascists are at Davos. They're the World Economic Forum people that are trying to tell us that black is white and that white is black. And I think that they must have got that out of the Trent Loos book of protesting.
So you think they're doing their own man march, Italian style? That's what you're thinking?
Yeah.
No.
Enough is enough. Enough is enough. I think they've got the message.
I think we need to get back to doing that, like once a month somewhere.
Yeah.
That was a really good day. That was a fantastic day.
Yesterday in Scotland, on April the 1st in Scotland, the new hate speech laws came into play, which means that people can be prosecuted by the Scottish government if somebody is offended by something you say, and the government or the police then believe that you've engaged in hate speech. Okay, so there were thousands of complaints about a speech that the Scottish Prime Minister has made, Sir Humza, about how he basically was going on and on and on about the fact that Scotland was a place for white people, and white people had benefits in Scotland that black and brown people didn't have. The problem is, it is 96% white in Scotland. So they're bound to hold by majority the key positions purely from a numbers point of view. So people observed that speech that he made, which he made, I believe, about 4 or 5 months ago. And that was the biggest. So you're allowed to apply online to go on about hate speech. And his own speech was the one that people complained about the most. So I thought that was quite funny.
That's very fitting, actually.
Yeah. The guy that introduced the law was the one that people complained about the most. So that tells you everything you need to know, really. And I believe the same thing is happening in Canada. They're about to embark on the same bovine fecal matter path. And they'll get the same change from their government, I'm sure, from their people, I'm sure.
Speaking about April 1 bringing in new initiatives, yesterday, starting in California, the minimum wage is $20 an hour.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, how is any business of any size, big or small, doesn't matter. How are they going to make that work? They're not.
Well, they'll just print more money. I'm sorry, but until
you see an acceleration of businesses of every size filing bankruptcy today, and you can't find anybody willing to work, period. It doesn't matter whether they're paid $35 an hour, $20 an hour, but if you're forced to pay $20 an hour, you're simply not going to make that work.
Well,
but it's California. It's not like we expect logic.
They will just print more money and make more federal jobs. I mean, that is how they're doing it, Trent. I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
I can see that. And those jobs don't bring any revenue to your country. They just, well, what they'll do is just tax those that do bring revenue into the country a bit more to pay for those jobs.
Speaking of which, yesterday we went on this tirade about debt in the United States, and I had my clip from Tom Vilsack, who was trying to explain the debt was a good thing, and the Biden administration is actually cut $1 trillion. Well, in the afternoon, all of a sudden, and I have one clip here from, I believe this, I don't even remember, but I think this is Bloomberg. Several entities reported that the debt is a serious problem. Even Larry Fink and Jamie Dimon started chiming in to say that the U.S. debt is unsustainable. Well, why all of a sudden did they wake up and say, hey, was it just an April Fool's?
No, I think you might be seeing some banks foreclosing soon. And it's going to start with a property crisis as it did in 2008. I've been reading a lot of people who are starting to say that the bubble is about to burst. You only got to look at the value of gold, Trent, to see that something's afoot, because gold is just at record highs almost daily.
Mm-hmm.
It's now up, I think it's 46% in 3 years. That's telling me that people are pulling money out of investments in business and putting them into gold, silver, and precious metals, which then tells you, the day where the collapse is due is coming very soon, isn't it? That's what that tells me.
Coming to a town near you soon. That's the moral of the story. But yeah, I mean, this has been happening for how long, Andrew? And they've just been ignoring it. Now all of a sudden they're acknowledging it. Why now?
Well, you say that, Trent, but it was gratuitous from 2020 onwards when they managed to persuade us all we were being hit by a pandemic that was going to kill millions of people. That was when the first wave of massive borrowing. I mean, you showed the chart yesterday. I didn't pick you up on it. But the 2020 to 2024 figures are extreme. They're just so extreme. It's unbelievable. And they've continued to do it. It's not, they haven't even got a pandemic and they've continued to do it. That's the other thing. It's not. So those 4 years have been extraordinary, because I think politicians think, well, hang on a minute. As long as we're not in control when it actually happens, we'll just keep doing it. Because the real politician that we're all looking for is the person to say, enough. We're actually going to have some really bad times here. People are really going to struggle. We're perhaps going to have to tax the rich really high in the short term, but we're not going to increase borrowing, and we're going to reduce the support that we give people. That might have to happen. And that's
if it starts with I'm going to tax the rich, it's just a stunt. That's not going to be part of the solution. Taxing anybody has never generated a debt relief. You must spend less, period. There's no other avenue.
I don't dispute that you're right, but I think I don't think that this current situation is rectifiable. That's what I'm trying to say to you. Like you say, you got to tear down the government. And so I think that some of the, we're going to have a massive reset. Now, on the same subject, I don't know whether you've seen this. I haven't sent the clip. It's too big. But yesterday, there is an amazing interview between a proper journalist and Bill Gates. And he's destroyed. He is absolutely destroyed in this interview. And it's over net zero. It's over him saying that, he plants trees in order to allow him to fly on planes. And the guy destroys him. And it's all over the internet at the moment. And he basically makes him look ridiculous. And that, I am seeing, has now started a big push on social media to say enough is enough with net zero. Now, those people that have taken the money, the Larry Finks, the Jeff Bezoses, for all this nonsense support that we, the taxpayer, pay, I actually think we should take all their money off them, Trent. I do. Even though it's only a gesture, I think we should take their wealth off these people. They are criminals, in my opinion.
How are you going to take the wealth off of them? What does that mean?
I think we should be. I think they've made themselves wealthy through what I could only describe as racketeering. They have told lies.
If it's illegal, there are laws for that.
Well, you've told me that laws don't mean anything. I mean, at the end of the day, there might be laws, but there might not be judges to implement those laws.
Yeah, the judicial system has the same level of corruptness that everything else does. And that's why we need a beacon of light.
Oh, you're going to give us one?
Well, right now, I'm going to give you a break. It's live across the pond. Andrew Henderson, Trent, Loos. We'll be back with more and a little bit about dairy in the break and afterwards, after this.
We need Nebraskans to milk cows again. And there's a lot of creative ways that you can do it. You know, I know that the way that we used to milk cows back in the olden days is not the way we do it now. And so I think, you know, you can use robotics and you can have a life and, you know, you can make it work. And so my goal, I guess, with the Nebraska State Dairy Association is to provide another opportunity for our producers, our existing Nebraska farmers to grow, to allow an opportunity for new people to get into the business that are from Nebraska, and then also to recruit the milk that we need to fill the pipeline.
Hello and welcome to the MHA Interpretive Center. It's the perfect stop along the Lewis and Clark Trail and the cultural hub of the Mandan, Hidatsa, and Arikara Nation. Nestled along the shores of Lake Sagagawea in Newtown, North Dakota, 1 mile west of the Four Bears Casino. You can enjoy amphitheater performances, art exhibitions, and educational workshops utilizing our living cultural center. Enjoy some coffee, browse our gift shop, and learn about the original people of this land. Learn more at mhanation.com/interpretive center.
Trent Loos here for my friend Greg Hager. Do you know why he has been named the Entertainer of the Year? It's because he writes his own stuff. It's because what he writes and performs and entertains will touch you in a way like very few songwriters can touch you. His country, his Christian roots come to life. Visit greghager.com for tour dates, merchandise, and book the show yourself. Use the code GREG24 for a discount. greghager.com.
Stop out to our facility, Highway 22 South. Let us build a truck for you.
Base Fluke Trailers of Dickinson is a family-owned dealer with expert staff that know their products front to back. We stock over 150 units of all types and can custom order a trailer with the unique features and capabilities you require for brands you can trust. Our experienced service team is the reason we're also the best place to have your trailer customized or repaired. Count on Base Fluke Trailers of Dickinson to keep you hauling.
Are you looking for something special or one of a kind? At Bassett Motors, we can help you find exactly what you want.
Come on in and experience how small town hospitality and personal service can make car buying a pleasure.
We know interest rates are important to you. We have multiple lenders to negotiate your lowest payment.
Visit us on Highway 281 in Carrington, North Dakota, and online at BassettMotors.com. Bassett Motors, where our customers send their friends.
Folks, when it comes to crop protection, you need equipment and technology you can count on. The Apache sprayer accomplishes all of that, but you need something else. A service counter and a group of people that'll help you when you need it. Simpson Farm Enterprises at simpsonfarm.com and High Plains Apache from Mandan. They have the service, they have the equipment. All they need is your confidence. Online, simpsonfarm.com or highplainsapache.com.
Look, so see these cows here, Trent.
Welcome back, Trent, Loos, Andrew Henderson, live across the pond. You have 7 days if you're going to follow the moon or the Old Farmer's Almanac. April 9th is the last day to plant your potatoes. Just letting you know.
Oh, in Nebraska. In Nebraska.
So the official guide is that you want to plant your potatoes, and I use the term plant loosely because I no longer plant my potatoes. I put them on the ground and then cover them with straw, and that worked fantastic last year. Between 2 to 4 weeks before the last frost. So when's your last frost going to be?
2 to 4 weeks. We've already had it.
Well, I guess you don't plant potatoes this year.
We've already had our last frost, Trent.
Do you ever have ground frozen? Do you have any?
Yes. Come on, Trent. Grow up. You know we do.
No, I don't. I don't know that you have a 3 foot of frost in the ground.
We would probably get it in November and December. Most mornings we'd have maybe half a foot, but we have been known to go down to -10, -17 Celsius, which is really, really cold. And that in that time you would have, the ground would be rock hard. I mean, the Thames froze over, so it can happen. Yeah.
So you would never have a foot of frost in the ground.
Yeah, we would, but it wouldn't be that. It would be quite rare. I'd say probably once every 5 years we'd have that. But yes, we would get that.
Okay. Chris Bosquet was talking about milking with robots during the break in the promo for today, and you wanted to address that.
I did. I wanted your views on robotic milking. I'll put my cards on the table. I think that you still need to have the required amount of staff because I think there's different skills that are required to manage a dairy herd when you're using robots. But I think they're a tremendous addition because they allow more potential for a farmer to be able to do things in the other areas that they wouldn't be able to do because of their reliance on milking times. So I think they're a fantastic thing. What do you think?
I mean, it does not eliminate stewardship and animal husbandry. It just changes the skill set, like you said. And I think the biggest myth about robotic milking is that people think that this is what the big dairies are doing to compensate for labor. And then in the United States, it's the small dairies who want what, like Chris described, who want to have time to do other things and minimize their labor inputs rather than the large dairies that are utilizing robotic milkers.
Yeah, although we've got both here actually, but I'm beginning to see that it's attracting more people into agriculture because, as you say, it's a different skill set. We're concentrating on other areas of husbandry because the milking is taking care of itself. They've pretty much got it right now in terms of, depending on what your system is, and how to encourage the cow to make more frequent visits, which is less likely to cause them health problems in the future because you're not challenging the other in the same way we used to by only twice or even once a day milking. So there's an awful lot of health reasons why a farmer should have robotic milkers as well as hygiene reasons why. So yeah, I'm a big fan of it, to be honest, and I think it's only going to get more accurate as well in terms of telling us things like when a cow's got mastitis in one teat, or telling us from a temperature point of view if the cow's not cycling properly or there's a disease issue. All those indicators come on the dashboard, and I think it's really, really useful information. We even get the rumination rates, which is, that is something you have. I do it visually, but if you're getting it constantly, the robot will tell you, which 10 cows to really look at hard. If you've got 100 cows, for example, it's really interesting. So I'm all for it.
I agree. And what I find most interesting about that whole system, because I've been on dairies, particularly young families seem to latch onto it for the reasons that Chris said. But the training process, training the robot to each individual animal so that when that cow walks in and it reads its RFID tag, it knows exactly where the placement of those teats are. And the whole process is just pretty incredible.
It is. And, if you have teats that are splayed or slightly, the wrong configuration, the robot can take care of all that. And, I mean, it's extraordinary when you see it. As you know, one of my customers I think he's on his fourth set now. So he started in 2003. And it's remarkable how they've improved them. And the results are astonishing in terms of the animal's health as well and welfare, because they still haven't got over one thing. Cows are a lot cleverer, or some of them are, than we ever expected. So I know that one of my friends, has still got cows that know how to get more feed out of the robot, which I find really funny. So they can work out certain glitches in the electronic system that they can override, because they've worked out, they've watched other cows going in there. They can work out how to get more feed. So that becomes a challenge, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. We had the same exact thing with our electronic sow feeding system, where sows would figure out how to bully other sows and then get double the ration or more.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I had one cow that worked out that as the motor was turning round to feed the animal, they noticed that if they headbutted the feeder at the exact time when the motor started working, it sort of shorted the motor and got twice as much food.
See, we talk about the corruption really with Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates. Even cows learn how to be corrupt. That's the moral of the story. It's just nature.
Trent, we've all got watches in our I don't know. Maybe I should ask you this question. If we didn't have watches, do you think we'd know what time it was?
I do all the time.
Okay. So you don't need you'd say it's 25 past 3 and you'd be pretty accurate.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I remember doing training on calf feeding actually down in Poole in Dorset. And we would sit for 24 hours and watch groups of calves when they decided they wanted to be fed. And without a watch, they were like clockwork. We had the watches. We knew when calf number 43 was going to get up, brush herself off, and go to the milking station. It was incredible. It was incredible how that works. And they all had their own different times.
And there's a trigger. There's always a trigger mechanism. So, I'll just use the pig scenario because obviously I have a bit of experience there. The sow grunts, and that sends a signal to these piglets that dinner's ready. And she grunts and delivers dinner about every 2 hours. So when we were in larger systems and we would wean sows, we would try to replicate that grunt. And if you would feed those pigs every 2 hours, by walking in the building, you now become the trigger mechanism. Well, I have some friends who got pretty creative with that, and they would actually turn lights on every 2 hours. And that light in itself would replicate the trigger mechanism. And this is just animal husbandry. This is what you need to know, whether you're using a computer or not. You need to understand the nature of the animal and communicate with the animal at the animal's level.
Oh, and we now know that light's very important when cows are on heat, don't we? And things like that. We've started to look at a cow that's pregnant also has a requirement for more hours of darkness. We've worked out all those things. So what we're saying is that the next time I visit Nebraska and I hear Kelly Loos grunt, it's my dinner time. Is that what you're telling me?
That's exactly what I'm telling you. Yeah.
Well,
speaking of cows and health, we have to go to this because 3 weeks ago, we brought up the fact that there was some mysterious illness in dairy cows in Texas.
Oh, I know where you're going now.
This has now become an issue in 5 states. And the state of Idaho is one of those 5 states. I'm going to be visiting with the Idaho State Veterinarian later today because they've implemented a restriction on any animals coming in, any bovine animals, not just dairy animals coming into the state of Idaho. And they're now saying that this is a high path avian flu, that these cows are being exposed to birds that are contaminated. As of yesterday, one human in New Mexico tested positive, a human that works with cows, but they also indicate that there is little, if any, chance that it passed from cow to cow.
Well, here's the first thing. If there's one human that has caught it because of that, just how dangerous is this? Is avian flu going to kill this human? I mean, I'd like to know what that actually means.
Well, in the cows, and Sid Miller, who is always out there, he's the commissioner of agriculture for the state of Texas. He said, it's not like, I'm paraphrasing, but nearly quoting him, it's not like this is going to break the dairy because they have symptoms for a week and then they get over it. It's just like a flu for a week and they're over it. 10% of the animals do dry up, though. So even if a person gets it, and any milk that comes from a sick cow does not go in the tank, it's discarded. So there's something going on here other than what we're being told, Andrew, and we're going to dive into it more. I'm going to do that today.
Okay. Well, I'll give you, I'm very interested in hearing about that. I just hope it isn't something that's been artificially put together again.
Yeah, you and I both. Live across the pond, Andrew Henderson, Trent, Loos, regaining control for the farmer, one grunt at a time. See you tomorrow.
Yeah. Bye, everyone.
At OLS Tubs, we focus on quality ingredients to create premium, low-consumption supplements that save producers time and money. Our customers see increased profits through better conception rates, heavier winning weights, and less time and money spent on doctoring herds. OLS formulas focus on highly bioavailable trace minerals and vitamins, as well as key ingredients to improve immune response, colostrum quality, and feed conversion. Our exclusive formula propels your livestock to their full genetic potential. This is why we confidently say OLS Tubs are simply the best.
People get sick for 2 reasons and 2 reasons only. Your body's missing something that it needs, or it's exposed to something that it doesn't need. So if you supplement what the body's missing, the body fixes itself. If you remove from the body toxins that are interfering with the body's doing what it's normally designed to do, then the body heals itself. It's really that simple.
NO2U, that's nitric oxide, NO, number 2, letter U.com, and you put Trent as coupon code, you don't pay any shipping.
In the heart of North Dakota lies a beautiful community to live, work, and play. Beulah is surrounded by nature and just minutes from Lake Sakakawea and all that it offers. The possibilities for fun and relaxation here are boundless. It's the perfect place to find a fulfilling career, epic adventures, and a welcoming community. Life here is legendary. Plan your visit today and see what you're missing.
Open Range is going to be like a digital magazine, I call it. We're going to be looking at a variety of subjects from agriculture, energy, sports, art, politics, of course, and we will be talking about a lot of subjects, having a lot of guests on, and I'm going to have a variety of co-hosts. One of them is Memo Barreto, D.L. Wetzel, Gene Grainer, Dustin Goverlau, and Daryl Lease. Welcome to Open Range, weeknights at 9 p.m. Central Time on Beck TV.